are blocking notes, blocking and narrative. So what can you put into your narrative paragraphs? You can put emotion, you can put backstory, you can put your thoughts. Try to write as clearly and concisely as possible. I don't mean it can't be beautiful. You can write beautifully, but just remember that the actor is there to learn their role. So don't give them things that they don't need, just things that they need. You can break up paragraphs. So you have your shot number, you have your shot type, you have your shot technique, you have your hyphen, and then you go into your narrative. And that's what I'm talking about here, is your narrative. Your narrative is big like this, right? And it is justified. That means it's not ragged right or ragged left. And when you do a new paragraph, because let's say this narrative is all about Carrie, but then you want to say a little bit about her daughter, Felicia, who is also in the scene. Go ahead and start a new paragraph. So this is a white space break here, just one open line. You don't indent or anything like with a novel. Think of like old school writing on a forum when there were no tabs or anything such as that. So then you would have another paragraph here. There's no limit to how many paragraphs you're allowed to have. Just remember, don't get too wordy because your actors are there to learn. They want to be able to move along. But what can you put in there? Like I said, backstory, thoughts, emotion, details of the scene. If you want to make sure that there are certain things like, the blue vase is on the back table because later in the scene that's going to break. So you place it in the scene early on. You want to think about those kind of things. In a traditional script, the blue vase is just suddenly there. Yeah. I'm kind of like, we're setting the scene. It's shot one of the scene. We're setting the scene. Mm-hmm. Let's know what we need in there.
Would it be capitalized, the blue vase?
That is a very recent thing. Lately, like literally the last script I did, and I went, this should be a rule. Mm-hmm. The last script I did, I went, I'm going to put my pivotal props in caps because I am so tired of us getting to a location. And because I was tired, it's always me. If I let Brienne do it, nothing's ever missing. But I was tired, or I was fed up, or it's my own script, so I've read it a million times, right? And I miss that one thing, and it's usually, of course, something that I've had to make, or we've had to, special order. It's that one thing. It was the micro budget, right? So I do that now, and I don't do it if it's not pivotal, right? And that is completely up to me. So I'm not, you guys are going to get in trouble if you turn something in and I'm like, pencil isn't capitalized. Yes, what'd you take my course for? It's not going to be like that.
So I can do it 3 times.
So you say now.
Right, yeah, right. But admittedly, if you were like, well, I need to know to bring a pencil, we're at a park. Like, who's going to have a pencil in the middle of a park? You know what I mean? Then then pencil would be a pivotal prop. I mean, I should shut up. Maybe they're all pivotal props. If you want them actually shown, okay, I guess here's the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is, if you could do the shot without the thing,
right,
then no, it doesn't need to be capitalized. But if you want it in, if that's your story, then yeah, I would capitalize it. I know that some filmmakers are like, I capitalize my pivotal props the first time they appear. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, you better hope you film everything chronologically then, all in one location. Yeah. Because the props don't just magically travel with you when you go to different locations. You have to organize them, you have to manage them. So there is that.
Magic would just show up?
I know, right?
How does that work?
Pencil! Boom! Tripod that shot.
That's in post.
That's in post.
You were naming that a lot of the information is in the narrative. Do you handle this a little bit like a stage play in the sense that in the very beginning there's a sheet that gives details on each character?
Sometimes with a new, like every new scene.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
like
no.
the beginning of the script.
Yes. So I did a film, a trade, and I knew that there were things that were going to be revealed very slowly over the course of the script, and there were no spoilers. It's just, that's just the way it was. It's not that I wrote it in a way to avoid, it just was that way. So I actually did paragraph-long character descriptions for each character, and then I actually did a short plot summary, because I'm like, you're not going to know until the final scene of the film that this boy has synesthesia, and if you don't know what synesthesia is, you may not really know what's going on, and that's fine. But as the actors making this story, I need you all to be in the know. I know a lot of the viewers are not going to know, and that's why the film is crafted that way. So yes, you can absolutely do that. My actors have loved it when I've done that.
If if you've got characters that you have a specific vision of who they are,
Yes,
you need to tell the actor that.
yes, absolutely.
Because if you don't, then you're losing, then it's your own fault when it doesn't come across.
Yeah,
At the same time, sometimes you'll have and this happened to us on a read once. We had a role, and because of the way the actor came and did it,
mm-hmm,
she owned the role to the point we expanded it,
mm-hmm.
because it was such a,
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and that's the best case scenario, is that, someone will fall in love with the character so much and identify so much
right,
that role becomes even better and bigger.
yeah.
Okay, so here is another little cheat, and that is, you know how I said you have characters and they're always in caps if they're on frame. In my narrative, I list my characters. So before I go into any details,
Yeah.
I basically list how my characters are standing, what I'm seeing. Okay, so the basic blocking I tend to do actually in this first paragraph. Then any emotion or back stuff I tend to put in a second paragraph or a third or fourth, blah, blah. My characters are always listed left to right in terms of their placement in the frame. So if I say to you, mid-shot, number one, mid-shot, no technique, because I don't want any panning, movement, anything. Mid-shot, Ed, Mark, and Lee stand wherever you're standing. That means I want you, Ed, Mark, Lee. And the reason that that's important is that then it allows your AD to literally help you place the actors, or it allows you as a director to go, oh, okay, this is important. Why is it important? Well, because in a minute, when I have Ed and Mark talking to each other and I punch into a close-up because they're doing this, they're where they should be. This is probably one of the best hacks that got added to modular method about 6 to 8 months in. It helped because before we were always like, okay, where do these people need to be in order for basically this shot, 3 shots from here? Or like, a dog is going to run into the frame, or someone's going to catch a ball, or something's going to fall and it needs to hit this one person. You need to have people spaced just so. So you always list your actors, you set them up left to right in terms of the frame. Okay, on-screen and off-screen characters. We've already covered this actually. So if a character is on screen, their name is all in caps in the narrative. If they're off screen, just write it like you would write a normal name with just the first letter capitalized. That is vital. Christopher and I think I've talked about this with Jared's house when we were running with another camera person. The director and the camera person did not understand this rule, this one rule. So every time 2 of the characters were talking, they were getting both of them in the frame.
Helps to pass the test.
Yeah. And that was really hard because then when the footage came into the editor's like, where is the footage of just Jared?
Yeah.
I only have Jared and Alicia both in the frame when Jared says this line, and it's supposed to be just, so I mean, it was Maxwell who edited that version, and I was like, honey, just run with what you have. That's what they gave you. He was like, no. He's like, that's not your script. And he was dragging the frame, so I should be enlarging them and cutting one of the actors out. And I'm like, thank you, my darling son. Okay, so multiple paragraphs, don't be afraid. You're never going to be told write fewer multiple paragraphs. And then exactly what we were just talking about, what we call image sensitivity or image awareness. I also just like to think of it as common human decency. Nothing is ever dead center in your frame. Now, any of us who took an art class in high school know this. If you put something dead center in your frame, the human eye doesn't want to leave it.
But 22% or 22 something.
Yeah, we want it slightly off center so that the eye will take in the entire image, unless you purposely want people just staring straight in the middle. You definitely don't want anyone's private areas dead center. I tend to just keep them off the frame in general, but people have parts.
If in the middle of dialogue, they have that kiss. So you got the dialogue, they kiss, more dialogue.
Yes.
So how, would you do that in parentheses in the middle, or would you put that in the narrative?
No, I would do dialogue, narrative, paragraph about the kiss and what
Oh,
kind of
okay.
kiss it is, then back into dialogue. Who talks after a kiss, Bill? That's not a good kiss.
No,
We did
it
it.
wasn't a good
We
kiss.
did, but it's
Wasn't a
because
good
we changed
kiss.
the city.
Yeah, I say it's not just your actors either, because I shot a really scene where somebody was firing somebody at a restaurant, and I left the edit suite, and I came back, and everybody in the building was in laughing their fool heads off because somebody behind the actors was bent over and there was butt crack. And I never saw that because I was so intent on the actors.
Yes,
And everybody was
that's it.
in there, it was like, oh.
That's it. Okay, that is actually, oh, thank you, Lee. That is a perfect example. So you have to be aware of what is being filmed. Now, if you are a director and not the cinematographer as well, I highly suggest that instead of watching your actors, which is what you want to do, you're
Watch the
watching the monitor. And if you don't have a separate monitor, if you're looking at the back of the camera, you know, where the little screen is, yeah, well then that's what you're doing. And make sure that your camera person wears deodorant and doesn't wear strong cologne or perfume, because you're going to be all up in their space. So I'm going to try to rush through this. So nothing dead center. It's okay for you to have signature angles that you like. Like I said, I like to have things slightly askewed. It's okay to have specifics for characters, like certain characters are shot in certain ways, but really keep that actor sensitivity. It's not just like, would you mind being shot this way? It's, would this person's mom mind them being shot this way? You know, or something like that. Always shoot people respectfully. And to finally tie up this little segment, let me just say, also, try to avoid tedium. Mid-shot after mid-shot after mid-shot after mid-shot after mid-shot. That's a kind of image sensitivity. You want to mix it up a little bit, because if not, then you're telling yourself you're writing a play. Because a play is all in wide.
That's true.